This is Yasir Zahir, YZ, live from Psyched Brain Instagram page. This is live with YZ. This is a new initiative we have undertaken just to create awareness about mental health issues in Pakistan, which is given not much importance in our society. So there is a stigma attached to it. So we will discuss about it. Every week I'll be inviting a new guest. My guest will be clinical psychologist, organizational psychologist, and mental health experts. And I'll be asking them those questions which may be in your mind, but you don't get a chance to ask about those questions. So I'll try to speak up your mind. So check this space every week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. So why mental health? Why do we give so much importance to mental health? According to an estimate, there are millions of people suffering from some sort of mental illness in Pakistan alone. So just imagine, in a population of 220 million people, there are a handful of psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists exist with a few state-run organizations and institutions. So just imagine, and a very few private platforms like Psyched Brain. So Psyched Brain is doing its part in creating the awareness. How important is it to get help when it comes to your mental health? So we give so much importance to physical health, but mental health is avoided. If someone talk about some dysfunction or some abnormality, some people take it as a social disgrace, and they avoid talking about it, right? So we spend millions on our physical health, but when it comes to mental health, we don't get professional help, and we instead we go to some traditional methods, and we don't get those help. So we will be discussing how important is it to get mental health. Important is to get the help from the mental expert. So today with me is Lubaba Afzal. Lubaba Afzal is the founder of Psyched Brain, and I am the co-founder of Psyched Brain. Lubaba Afzal is an organizational psychologist, and she has worked in various organizations. She has some valuable experience of working in those organizations. So let's invite Lubaba Afzal now, without further ado. All right, Assalamu alaikum Lubaba, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, I'm good. Yasir, how are you?
I am good. Thank you very much. So how are you feeling today?
I am very well.
Wonderful.
You? All great?
Wonderfully. Alhamdulillah. So we know how to maintain the mental health. So we are mental health expert, we call ourselves. So you are smiling, mashallah. How do you keep yourself motivated in current situation, like especially during pandemic when uncertainty is all around? So how do you keep yourself motivated?
Well, honestly, Yasir, I think you of all must be knowing it better than everyone out there. I founded Psyched Brain during this pandemic, so you can imagine that how it is important to keep yourself aware of the things that are happening around you. And people just feel that, if we just neglect, or if we don't tap our eyes on, or if we don't hear those things, so we are going to get better. But it's opposite. It's exactly the opposite. The sooner you realize, the better it's going to be, and the sooner you're going to get good at it. So that is why it is highly important to keep your mentally you yourself updated, like a mental check, a daily check on yourself. So whenever I'm up in the morning, I think, okay, so it wasn't that bad yesterday. I think I can have a much better day today, and what tomorrow can bring. I know some people out there may just think ये सिर्फ लफ्जी बातें हैं, but it's actually possible when you know that things can make a change, and especially when you can make a change. okay, I know I'm a psychologist. I can definitely guide people around, or in fact, not even guide people around. If they want help, then only they are going to change. But if there is resistance, I get so many patients who are like being forced into therapy, and eventually nothing good turns out of it because they have been forced into it. Until and unless they don't feel comfortable themselves, nothing is going to change. So you need to first check your mental state every morning, and if you feel that okay, you're good to go for the day and everything is great, then yes, why not? Who's stopping you? So yes, as I said earlier, so I founded Psyched Brain during pandemic. I founded this organization. I found a blessing in disguise. I left my like where I was working, and I found an inner peace within myself. When I was at home, I felt like I could think more, I could spend a nice time with my family, and this is what I wanted at the end of the day.
Perfect, perfect. When you were telling about once you get up in the morning, you just think about all the blessings that you have. So how important is it to count the blessings that you have in order to be mentally, perfect and be grateful?
Oh yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up, Yasser. I think in terms of COVID especially, it is very important to count your blessings. Like we just end up counting, oh, our car broke down, or we are being fired, or our mate didn't turn up today, or our whoever, like our neighbor is harassing us, or our boss is harassing us, or so many things. But do we even count the blessing? It could be the smallest of all. Like, I am wearing clothes today. I have a roof above my head. I have something to eat. My belly is full. These small blessings, they go a long way. Because honestly, there is like a part in our brain, it is actually there to regulate flight or fright situations. But unfortunately, there is nothing out there, in here especially, that could store good things and that could, help regulate good things. So, this being said, I just felt even during the pandemic that this should be out there, and that's why I wrote this journal for adults, elders. So it is like a 6-week journal. It's like a gratitude 6-week journal. In beginning, it tells you okay, what is exactly gratitude and how you could go about it, and then we have like daily and weekly activities. Not only this, I have recently just launched a journal for kids, the gratitude journal for kids. It's a very pretty journal. I wish I was seeing it again. It's an awesome job done by our designer, I would say, and it is amazing. Like, this is a very colorful book. So this is for, I would say, from... Sorry, come again?
I hope our designer is watching this live transmission. So we'll let you know.
Yes, I hope so too. So this journal is actually for kids between 5 to 11 and or even 11 mainly, or 12, and then above it's this. So yes, it's like a duo that you and your kid can participate, especially if we are expecting another lockdown. So I think that this is one thing that we all would need. Practice gratitude and make it a habit. I've just kept this journal for 6 weeks. Both of the journal are for 6 weeks. It's just that within 6 weeks, you would have already developed that habit. And when it turns into a habit for people who have different habits of drinking tea, of drinking coffee, or even like cigarette smoking, of course, that's like not advisable at all, or there are so many other things. So they know when a habit is formed, that it's very difficult to get it out of you. So yeah.
Okay, Acha, tell us about this Elders Journal. This Elder Journal is targeted to like individuals or any corporate people, profession, or anyone who wish to feel grateful. You can get this journal.
Oh well, it's a generic journal. I haven't targeted for corporates or just specifically to some gender or anyone. It's like in general. So whoever, and like as I said, it's just the age. So anyone above 12, feel free to use it. When women, individuals at home or corporates, anyone can use it. So it's just like generic journal for everyone out there. Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So actually, I have collected all those questions which our followers have asked us before. So I have compiled those questions. One of the questions goes like, being a psychologist is a very stigmatized profession. Like we all know that people prefer to rather pop medicines than go see a clinical psychologist. But probably thanks to COVID or even before, people have started to realize its importance. But what is an organizational psychologist? Like we don't get schizophrenic or bipolars recruited in an organization. So why you? What do you do exactly? So this is the question one of our followers have asked.
Well, I'm so glad that someone asked this. So yes, exactly. That's what the thing is, Yasir. Given in Pakistan, people are starting to realize the importance of a clinical psychologist. Still, it is still stigmatized. We get like a lot of people who say that, okay, please don't put our testimonials with a name or anything. I don't want anyone to know that I was seeking help, or even like my parents, I don't want to know that I'm seeking help, or I don't want my children to know. But well, this is the clinical psychologist part. Now everyone, they confuse psychology with psychiatrics. So a psychiatrist is someone firstly who gives medicines. They do an MBBS degree and they are doctors by profession. Sorry. Psychologists on the other hand, they don't do an MBBS degree, they don't give medicine. So if anyone is giving you medicines out there, people, they are not psychologists, they are psychiatrists. That's it first. Now, in every profession, there are like, let's say about engineers, there are like mechanical engineer, there are electrical engineer and aeronautical engineer. So the same way, like in psychology, there are clinical psychologists, there are forensic psychologists, there are organizational psychologists, and there are educational psychologists, and so on. So in Pakistan, like I have started a need of a clinical psychologist, and soon hopefully there would be also a need of an organizational psychologist. There are very handful of organizational psychologists in entire Pakistan, like they can be actually counted on our hands. What does it exactly an organizational psychologist do? Yes, the person was right, as you narrated, that there are no schizophrenics or bipolars in an organization. But we don't understand the fact that psychology, it just not only is restricted to therapy. There are so many other things out there as well. So there is like, as being an organizational psychologist, we can help the organization if there's like in recruitment purposes. So like there are organizational psychologists we're sitting on a panel, and they could also be for psychometric testing. That's the recruitment part. Then also in the engagement part. So you understand the culture, you form a culture, you develop values of the organization, and then you do you engage the organization's employees accordingly. And not only this, there are also organizational psychologists. Yes, they can also do therapy. But let me tell you that therapy is like, of course, we cannot, and nor we are trained to have like very deep-rooted a clinical psychology problem. This like on the surface. So if there's like mild stress, mild depression, mild anxiety, or something like along those lines. But if there is anything severe, then we have to ethically refer them to a clinical psychologist. So that's where our limit ends. And moving forward, of course, they can be organizational psychologists, which help in training the employees in soft skills, of course. So in those terms, so these are like a few arenas in which an organizational psychologist does work, and they work. Now, I'm sure HR professionals out there, they must be feeling, "Ye kaam to hum bhi karte hain," like, what's different? Like, HR professional slash psychologist, we can easily put it out there. So let me tell you, there is a very, very fine line between them both, like between these two professions. An organizational psychologist, anything and everything which has to be done with the behavior, that's what an organizational psychologist does. You could think, okay, HR, within HR, anything to do with personality or behavior. But then when it comes to processes, or when it comes to something technical, or when it comes to something something more concrete and more science-based, and then that's where an HR profession is there. Not that psychology is not a science, it's a sub-science, but so yes, there's nothing definitely concrete in psychology. So because every personality, every human behavior is different. So that's how I would like to put it up.
Okay. A very comprehensive answer. Thank you very much. Okay, Acha, since you have worked with different organizations as an organizational psychologist, I would like to know what is the major issue employees facing, and what is the major burning issue they actually came up to you with respect to the mental health. What is that major issue? Can you please shed some light on that?
Yes, definitely. So it's not only important that a person, if they are working in an organization, they will be like stressed or workload stress. Well, that's there definitely. Those were one of the most pressing concerns that we were getting. But more than that, it was the relationship with peers, relationship with their boss. That was like the most pressing of all, because see, if there is workload stress, there are as soon as the project ends, the workload stress is gone. But when then there is a problem with a peer, or problem with your colleagues, or problem with your boss, so that's where the things, they start getting worse, because you can't, it's not like a project that it's going to end anytime soon. Until unless you leave the organization, or you pray that your colleague leaves the organization, or your boss leaves the organization, that's totally different. But let me tell you that there is a lot of workplace harassment that's going on in Pakistan, and people, they don't even know what things are included in harassment. Fortunately, things are improving, but unfortunately, when they try to stand up, they are being shut down. They are being said, "Oh well, that's how things are. If you're not comfortable, that means there's some problem in you. Oh well, I'm like a normal human being. There isn't a problem with me. It's the problem in your culture that you harass, you call names, you show them fingers, for that matter. I have been shown fingers wherever. I was saying is that there is a lot of workplace harassment happening in Pakistan, and people just don't either turn up addressing the officials, or they just feel so होता है, हर किसी के साथ होता है, आपके साथ भी हो रहा है, इसमें भी नहीं बात क्या है. So that's what the thing is, that harassment, workplace harassment, it's not being addressed in Pakistan. So yes.
Okay, Lubaba, ये बताइए कि इसमें जैसे हमारे जो followers हैं, उसमें से one of the questions I'm asking, ये पूछते हैं कि how can I tell if someone has a mental health problem? अगर आपके acquaintances में, friends में, if anyone is going through these problems, so how can we identify? क्या किस तरह से हम कर सकते हैं?
Yes, that's a very good question. Thank you, whoever asked. So, firstly, please, if whatever I'm saying, if you get to know that, just don't go start labeling that person. Labeling is just going to make that person worse. If that person is going through some problems, you labeling them is just going to go down the drain even further. So you can just identify some of those symptoms perhaps, and you can of course ask them in detail, or you could offer them to not कि वो किसी therapist के पास जाएं or something. You can offer them something like that. But a few things that could be there is perhaps you start seeing them that they're getting a lot too anxious, ज़्यादा घबराना शुरू हो गए, हर छोटी छोटी बात पे परेशान होना शुरू हो गए हैं. So ये सारी जो चीजें हैं, it just there is, of course, these are like symptoms of someone that there is a problem out there. So you need to address that. Now there could be many other things related to it. If it is, of course, अगर ये जो भी मसला है, if it is persistent, अगर वो चलता चला जा रहा है for weeks or even perhaps months, then there is a problem and the person needs to go to a psychologist. Secondly is them feeling depressed or unhappy. Whatever जो उनके आसपास चीजें हो रही हैं, उनको बस यही होता है कि कुछ अच्छा है ही नहीं, like always being pessimistic कि कुछ अच्छा नहीं हो रहा मेरे साथ, कुछ ये नहीं हो रहा, वो नहीं हो रहा. So that pessimism is some have it by gene or some have it by birth. पर अगर अचानक से ये चीज आना शुरू हो जाए, so that's like one trigger for the other person to understand. Then sleep problems. Sleep problems are majority of the time, so they always they turn up, and अक्सर यही होता है कि या तो बहुत ज्यादा नींद आ रही होती है या नींद उड़ जाती है. And then when they just tell their peers or their friends, ये बोलते हैं तुम्हें प्यार हो गया है, नींद उड़ रही है, भूख लग रही है, भूख नहीं लग रही है, or things like that. But of course match them with other symptoms that's arising too. तो अगर नींद नहीं आ रही है, भूख नहीं लग रही है, low lethargy and weight loss हो रहा है, and हमेशा चुप रहना, that's a red alarm. ये बहुत बड़ा alarm है. There is a problem with that person. So please just try to be comforting around them, help them whatever problem that they are facing. अक्सर they start doing drugs as well. जब when they feel कि इस चीज का कोई हल नहीं है, या तो they start having suicidal ideations. अक्सर they give prompts के मेरी जिंदगी का क्या फायदा, मैं क्यों जी रहा हूँ, मुझे जीना नहीं चाहिए, and मैं इस घर में क्यों हूँ, या ये लोग मुझे नहीं अच्छे लगते. And when these start being repetitive, तो वो शायद drugs लेना शुरू हो जाते हैं, and then they go in substance abuse. And yes, मैं जिंदा ही क्यों, मैं इस दुनिया में जी क्यों रहा हूँ. So these feeling of worthlessness, that's also a major problem that can be seen. So this is like a few things. If you all combine all these together, it shows that the person is going through with some mental problem.
Okay, so there is one question I have received right now. The question is how to control overthinking. Can we control it?
Yes, well, overthinking can be done. It is definitely something that as psychologists we hear now and often saying कि हम लोग overthink बहुत करते हैं, हमें help करें, how can we improve or something like that. So there is like, I'm sure a clinical psychologist will be able to help you better in this. But अगर overthinking की basic चीजें जो होती हैं, तो हम उसके अंदर यही करते हैं कि we like ask the person, like are they aware that there is some change to happen. क्योंकि they just go on overthinking उनकी होती रहती है, उनको वो मसला नहीं लगता. They just feel like कि हाँ वो नहीं है, like it's not hampering our life, it's not hampering our personal life. तो बस हम एक limited time के लिए करते हैं overthinking और फिर it goes off. So if that's fine, they are aware of it, तो अलग बात है. But if then it continues, like it totally continues, and they keep on thinking the fact कि ये चीज़ अगर गलत हो गई तो अगर ये चीज़ गलत हो गई तो अगर ये चीज़ गलत हो गई तो ifs and buts they will go on. आप जितने रास्ते खोलेंगे उतने खुलते जाएंगे. तो overthinking का one thing is that you don't think that what's going to go wrong. You think that what's going to go right. When it's going to go right, So आप अगर और भी उससे और रास्ते भी खुल रहे हैं, so at least there is a positive message that's going on in there, and then you're going to feel better. The hormones are being released accordingly. But अगर ये बिल्कुल ही इस तरीके से like नहीं ऐसा अच्छा नहीं होगा, ये नहीं होगा, उस वजह से like negative sense में overthinking होती जाती है, then of course your आपका mood down से down जाता रहता है, and then you know it's like a never ending cycle. It's a vicious cycle. One more thing that you are overthinking, so just like try कि आप उस वक्त अपने आप को in the sense कि you're aware of the situation. So if you're aware of the situation कि अच्छा I'm overthinking right now, so quickly distract yourself. कुछ और करना शुरू हो जाए, कुछ you know try to do something which is good for you, something that makes you happy. So you know overthinking उस लिहाज से, negative लिहाज से, that's going to decrease. And again, stop waiting that there is something is going to be perfect. Like perfectionism की तरफ नहीं जाए, because that's going to destroy you in terms when you keep on overthinking. मतलब आपको बस ये होता है कि ये perfect हो, नहीं हुआ तो ये, and things you know things will just carry on. And then yes, put your timing. As I said earlier, that if people think कि अच्छा ये इस चीज का इतना टाइम अगर मैं सिर्फ आधा घंटा अपने आप को दे रही हूँ, or while I'm driving from office to work or bus or something like that, from office to home, so if बस इतना slot है, then it is fine. But if it is continuing and it's hampering your daily routine, then it's not a good thing. Please seek some professional help.
Okay, great. Achha, there is another question. She's asking, is there any way we can get rid of our old memories, whether good or bad? So, is there any way?
Okay, so इस चीज के लिए मैं ये कहूँगी कि generally people they feel कि हम ये चीज जो यही बात होती है कि हम कोई भी आदत भुलाना चाहते हैं, कोई भी चीज से हम दूर जाते रहते हैं. We don't realize the fact कि जितना हम सोच रहे हैं हमें उससे दूर जाना है, वो उतनी और हमें याद आती रहती है. And I would say that with experience, जितना भी if I you know जितनी भी मैं कोशिश करूँगी जिस चीज को याद नहीं करना, वो और उतनी आती जाएगी. So the best way is to distract yourself. And if there is actually something जो आपको उस past से आपको परेशान कर रहा है, then that means कि मैं हमेशा यही कहती हूँ कि वो मुर्दे अभी तक दफन नहीं हुए हैं, please पहले उनको दफनाएं. And it is, I know it can be difficult for a person to do them by themselves alone. There can be so many things. किसी के साथ झगड़ा हो गया, like you know broke off a relationship, or someone died, or something happened. Usually these are like traumatized situations जो हमारे पास होती है, जिनको हम बुला नहीं पाते हैं. तो जब ऐसी कोई situation arise होती है, then just make sure that you know you are over that, and it's not very easy to get over that. It's generally, again, you know, there would be a few techniques and tips that the psychologist would help you come through it, and it can easily be, you can easily overcome those. But yes, it may take time, because one thing, yes, everyone doesn't understand the fact is that therapy takes time. It's not any pill जो आपने Panadol की तरह आज daily कल दर्द खत्म हो गया. That is not possible. Please, you have to be patient. You have to give yourself time. You have to give your brain some time to process the changes. मतलब मैंने gratitude journal एक दिन की क्यों नहीं बनाई, मैंने एक हफ्ते की क्यों नहीं बनाई. It's a process. It's going to take time. That's why it's a 6-week long thing. क्या आप वो process से जब जाते हैं, आप change करते हैं, so it's going to eventually, you know, things will change. All you have to do is just believe in yourself, I would say.
All right. So one of our followers is also asking, the biggest challenge is to convince people to get professional help. This is the greatest challenge. And I know we are doing the same. We are creating awareness how to get the professional help. So what do you have to say about it?
Well, yes, that is right. It is one of our greatest challenge. एक चीज जो मैं हमेशा इससे कहूँगी इस चीज में कहूंगी that you cannot force anyone in therapy. If you do, nothing good is going to come out of it. And not only I know that as being a psychologist, I also know that as being helping people get I see कितने मेरे psychologists जो हमारे panel में हैं, उनसे अगर हम client से पूछते हैं कि why did you discontinue therapy in between, like कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा, मैं good नहीं हो रहा या आते नहीं है, बहाने बनाते हैं. So it's not just that we are just doing all that for money कि नहीं आए sessions में. It is actually required. Like it's just imagine कि आप एक elastic band को आप खींचते जब ले जाते हैं. So it takes time from going from this part to this part. It's going to take time. वो फौरन से एक से दूसरे part पे नहीं आने वाला. However, people just feel कि हम अगर पीछे से कर देंगे, then next time round when we start वो वहीं से stretch होगा. वो वहाँ से stretch नहीं होगा. वो ये जो आपने एक दो कदम का सफर भी अब चले, even that's going to go away. That's going to go in vain. So you need to first convince yourself, like convince them, tell them the pros, tell them the cons of seeking professional help. Cons hardly I can yes, there could be कि society क्या कहेगी जो हमारा है, कि लोग क्या कहेंगे, that could be a con. पैसे जा रहे हैं, that could be a con. But the pros is you are going to change your people around you, may see a change in you, your professional, your personal life, your relationships. Everything is attached with you. So just imagine आपने वो जो डोर जिंदगी की इतनी सारी आपने पकड़ी हुई अपने हाथों में, अपने बच्चे, अपने शौहर, अपने siblings, अपने बहन भाई, अपने माँ बाप, अपने काम, whatever your business, your whatever it is. If you yourself are not up to it, just imagine those strings in your hand. They're just like आपका हाथ खुलता जा रहा है. वो एक करके छूटती जा रही है, वो एक करके आपके हाथ से निकलती जा रही है. And then जब यही सब आपका हाथ खत्म हो जाएगा, like बैठे हुए आप तालियां तो नहीं बजाएंगे अपने आप से अकेले. You want people around you. Everyone wants people around them. So you need to understand that if you don't seek professional help, people eventually they would go away. Even the loved ones, they go away. So if you love them, if you don't love yourself, at least if you love them, for the sake of them, seek professional help. कुछ नहीं होने वाला. No जबरदस्ती कुछ नहीं किया जाता है counseling session में. It's just that we talk. We give you some exercises. We talk. That's all that's done. मतलब और कुछ नहीं होता है. हम लोग कुंफू पांडा नहीं चल रही है, कुछ नहीं होगा आपको.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Lubaba. Thank you very much for your time. I hope जो आपने चीजें हमें बताई हैं, you have explained very, very well. And I think हमारे जो followers हैं, they must have learned a lot, and a kind of awareness has been created, I think so. So thank you very much, Lubaba, and we will definitely invite you again. And thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.